Пособери в шестерок. Дай видео. I think I'm live, but I'm having some technical difficulties, so feels live. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think everything is set up and working, so we can start. Hello everybody, and welcome to a new episode of my stream series where I'm trying to build Android application in Kotlin in order to display the photos taken by Mars Rovers into an Android application. I don't have a lot of experience with Android development and specifically with Kotlin. So if you're new here, I'd like to let you know that I will Google a lot and I'll have a lot of moments where I'm stuck. So yeah, welcome, and let's get started. Let me introduce you a bit on what I'm trying specifically to build. I have here some mock-up designs. This will be the homepage of our application, and it will display the rovers. Currently there are 3 rovers on Mars that are taking photos constantly, and we will have a horizontal scroll view displaying each rover in a box like this with its image, the launch date when it was launched, landing date, and the date until it was operating on Mars. Then we will be able to click on the button view photos. That will take us to the next screen, which is the photos activity. This will just display in a grid view all the photos that rover took. It will display the camera because each rover has around 8 or 9 cameras on board, and also the date on which this image was taken. Let me show what I've managed to do so far in Android. Okay, we will not need the mockups for now. Emulator is starting. Let me just display the home screen because I don't have navigation yet implemented. So if we go in the activity main, Rovers list, and this will display the home screen if we just apply the changes. Why is still the same one? Do I need to rerun it? So yeah, this is the home screen. We see first the rover Curiosity and its launch date and all the data about it, and we see that it's still active. It's still taking photos and walking around there. We have a Spirit rover that has completed its mission and is not longer active, and the Opportunity. From here we will be able to press on the view photos, which will take us to the next screen, but I don't have the navigation yet implemented. So let me just show you the rover photos. And here is the screen which will display all the rover photos in a grid view. There are some boring photos, but maybe we can, having a easy UI to use, maybe we can find some interesting photos that rovers took on Mars. So what's the plan for today? I would like to start with refactoring the code to separate everything in packages, so it will be easier to manage, because right now everything is in the same package and it already kind of gets messy. After that, I would like to implement the application navigation that will take us from the home screen to the photo screen. And then we'll go with data persistent or with let's write it here. I might start working at the speaking with the API, because currently we are taking it from a hard-coded JSON string, so we just need to connect with NASA API. Yeah, that's the plan, so let's get going. Let me just check if everything is okay. Yeah, I think everything looks good. Okay, here it's the package with all our classes. Let's first of all create a package for the models, so we can keep them all together, easier to manage. Models. Let's move there the rover model. The rover photo model. And rover camera model. Okay, that's about the models. Then we can keep package for the repositories. And move the rover repository in this package. And we can create also separate packages for each fragment. For example, for the rover list fragment, this is a fragment, and for the rover photos fragment. Rover. Not sure what capitalization is using here, but let's rover list. We can move the rover list. We can move rover, and that's it. And we can create another package for the rover photos. There we will move rover photos and the photo adapter. I hope that, and we can leave the main activity here in the root of our package. I hope that we didn't break anything and the refactoring did its job. Let's just waiting it to build. Okay, the photo screen works the same as before. Let's just check if the other screen works, so we can know that everything is clean and working. It's in another package, it's in rover list. Yep, it's working as expected. Okay, we can check this. We refactored the classes into their separate packages. Now we should move to the navigation. As I don't have a lot of experience, I will have to follow a guide to be sure that I'm not messing up anything, so we can move faster. With the navigation.
Up until now,
No, thanks.
the navigation component.
Okay, let's start by adding the dependencies of a navigation graph. We will have to add the version of the navigation into the build Gradle. Is it in the application Gradle or the project Gradle? The project Gradle, yeah. Project Gradle. Okay, then the ext will be an object, and we can pass the version of the navigation here. Then within the app.gradle we need to add these two dependencies for the navigation. Next step is to add the navigation graph to the project. That's here in the resources. Create a new resource file. Let's just check where it is. Here, the second one. And the resource type will be of type navigation. We can call it navigation. Yeah, first of all, let's sync the application with the new dependencies that we just added. We added extra bracket there. Let's try again. Yeah, the dependencies have been added successfully, and now in the navigation that XML that we just created, we can come here, and for the design we will add a new screen, and it already shows us which screens we have. We have the fragment of the rover list and the rover photos. The first one will be the rover list, and I think it should display here the navigation, but I'm not sure why it doesn't display. Probably there is no nav host fragment. Yeah. Yeah, now in the main activity layout, we need to include the navigation host that will handle all this navigation, and yeah, this is the path for the navigation host. We go to the activity main here. Instead of displaying a fragment, we display here the navigation host, and the navigation host will decide which fragment to show at which point in time. For the ID, we will say nav host fragment. We need to have a link to our navigation file. Let's add it here, and probably we'll change the variables to camel case. Yeah, navigation means that this navigation host will reference this navigation file that we just created. So we see here that the host was added as activity main. So we already have some errors. One exception. It says that it found a class within 2 times. We have. Oh, there's a problem. It added automatically one more time the navigation fragment here. We don't need this. Let's try to sync the project now. Yeah, now it's synced. Okay, so yeah, now here we see the rover class, and we will add one more fragment for the rover photos. We can put them here. Then we connect them with an action, saying that there is a possibility to go from the rover list to the rover photos. This is the action, and action has this ID, action rover list to rover photos. Then within our code, we will be able to call this action, so our navigation host fragment will know that it needs to go to this fragment. Let's just make sure that the app is working. So we will see as the home screen the rover list. It's building. Still building. Okay, we see the home screen is still the rovers list. That means that our navigation displays the home screen correctly. Now we will have to create on-click listener for these buttons that will redirect us to the rover photos. So in our rover list, we have a rover which is the layout that displays one rover, and here okay, let's check what within the binding we will need the button and set on click listener. Let's just have a look. Yeah, we will just check how they did the navigation. So here we say that whenever the button is clicked, we say find the navigation controller, and it will look and find this navigation controller, and will say where to navigate, which action to take. And this ID is our action, the ID of our action that we specified here, the action rover list to rover photos. So we see that we navigate through this action. I'm curious if it will work. Let's see. So if we press on view photos, yeah, we get redirected here, and now we can go back and we are here. Okay, the navigation between screens now works. The basic navigation we have implemented. Now we will have to, whenever we press on this button, we don't need just to redirect the user to this page. We also need to send some data to know on which rover we have pressed, so we will know what photos to display. So we'll have to send the ID of the rover that we currently pressed. So if we press on the Spirit rover, we will see only the photos of that rover, not others. And this is implemented using safe arguments. And let's add some more dependencies for the safe arguments. Into the project Gradle file, this is the project. In the dependencies, then we will apply these plugins that we added in the app.gradle here. And let's sync the project to download the... It says that it didn't find the safe args. Do we need the class path here? Yeah, now it found and it installed successfully. Now instead of redirecting to a specified ID of the action, we need to replace them with the navigation directions. And if we go here, and we say rover list directions, it has this action rover list to rover photos. And if we run it, I just saw that I'm not using bindings here. I will come to it later. why it takes so long. And if we press on the view photos, yeah, the same things happen, it redirects us here. But now that allows us to add here arguments that we will send when we will redirect. So if we press on the action arguments, we should be able to add some arguments, but why it's not possible? Maybe we should rerun it because we added these safe arguments. Navigation XML, no arguments. Okay, it's not in the action, it's actually in the fragment. So here we go to the arguments. Yeah, here we go to the arguments. We don't have any now. We add an argument which is rover ID. It will be of integer and add. Rover model, the ID is integer, right? But this will give us an error because now we should pass here the ID of the rover that we are currently redirecting to. Not sure why it doesn't say anything here. Okay, here, yeah. When we try to make the project, it says that no value passed for the parameter rover ID. And it will be simple because we have a rover model. We will say rover model dot ID. If it's not nullable, now we are sending the arguments. The last thing that we have to do is to read them from the photos fragment, and it will be done using these arguments in the rover photos. Here we get the arguments. And let's just log them to console to know that we are actually receiving these arguments. Rover ID string. Let's now run the application, and we will see in the log code so if we press on, for example, rover spirit, we receive the ID 7, and I actually know that the spirit is with ID 7, so that means that it works. If we press on opportunity, we see the ID 6. Okay, navigation I think is implemented, and we have everything that we need from it. We have a basic navigation. We are passing the ID of the rover, so we will be able to fetch the data about that rover. Probably in our rover repository. Let's hide this JSON. No, we'll not do this right now. Let's just check our nodes. Safe arguments are implemented. Now I think the right way to continue is to implement the API and to actually fetch the data from NASA API. NASA API. Mars Rover. Okay, I think this will be a little bit tricky because I haven't worked with fetching the API in Kotlin, but hopefully it will be working fine. So for fetching the API, we will be using the Retrofit library, and let's start by adding the dependencies of a Retrofit in our application.gradle. But first of all, let's just commit everything that we have right now, so we know that we have a working version of the application. Navigation. So in the build.gradle, we will add the retrofit version. Okay, we also need to specify the version of retrofit, but I don't see here what version do they use. Retrofit. GitHub, let's check their repository so we know which version to add. is 2.6.2. That goes here is 2.6.2. Yeah, that's it. And let's sync the project. Now let's create a new package for that will hold our API layer. We can say just API, and here let's create a kotlin class called Mars API Service. Yeah, I just discovered this recently that in this course they are also doing something with the Mars API, but they're not doing the Mars API with the photos. They're doing something with I'm not sure, but something with selling lots on Mars. There is an API. I think it's just for fun and just for testing it. So that's why we see here Mars API service as well. So let's have a variable that will hold the base URL of API. The base URL, and for us it will be so this is the URL that queries the photos of an API that we see here, photos. But we also need to query the rovers. So if we delete this part, if we delete this part and just query the rovers, now we get a response with 3 rovers. That's exactly what we need for the first screen to query the data about one rover. So the base API will be this one. Let's add the instance for the retrofit. Let's just import it. Now let's add the interface for the API service. And inside the interface we will have a method that will will do a get request to this URL. So we'll have a get request as well. Get Rovers. But the path on which we will send this request is not really stated, but just this path. The problem that I'm thinking is that if we don't have this API key, then yeah, API key missing, it will give us an error. So I think it will not work, but we'll figure it out later how to solve it. We also will need a way to access this retrofit service. So we will have an object that will have a reference to this retrofit, and we return it. Now we will have to work with our repository in order for it not to get the data from the JSON file that we have hard-coded in the string, but actually to use this interface of the API and call it. So for the Rover repository, here we have get Rovers. Yeah, let's first of all comment this thing out. We'll see if we need something from there for future, but for now we will have to fetch the API using the Mars API service. Mars API service. No, actually it's not Mars API service, Mars API. Oh yeah, it's from Mars API service. Get Rovers. Callback, we have to import it from the retrofit. If I can find it somewhere here. From here, yeah, retrofit, the call the same from retrofit. Now we should think how to manage the response. At this point, let's just log them, and we'll see if it actually fetches the API failure. And here, if it's a successful call, we will console log the response.body. For now, let's just actually, well, let's return this thing that was done there for now, so it will not crash or anything, and later on we can delete it. I'm pretty sure that now it will fail because we don't have API key, and whenever we don't have API key, the server gives us an error with API key is missing. But let's check that. Right now it's building, so let's just wait a bit. Did it crash completely? Yeah, it crashed. Fatal exception. Okay, base URL must end with a slash. Okay, we can do that. Gostaria de jogar café de rosa. Gostaria de jogar café de rosa? Now what? Missing. No. Yeah, probably it says that missing URL into the get. So probably we'll have to say that we will get from this URL. We don't need to append anything to it. Or actually, it's better not to have rovers here, and let's just add them here, because this is the actual base URL. So if we add here rovers, install successfully. Yeah, the app didn't crash. Now let's just check the logs that we were writing. Null. Does it come from here? It didn't give an error, but the body is null. It says on response. Let's just check if the log comes from here. Oh yeah, actually that's true, because it doesn't give an error. It receives a response, but the response is not something that we need. Let's check if the status code or is successful. Maybe this is the parameter that will say us if it's successful or not, or maybe the status code. So okay, successful is false and it's 404. Not sure if it's actually 404 if he doesn't have a key, but we can easily check it here. Now if we go to the network, it's 403. You know what, I had the same problem that my emulator didn't have internet because of DNS problems. So let me just check if it's not the same problem. No, it's not the same problem. I have internet connection. Is it because we have here the backslash? What we need to see is 403, because that's the error exception that we receive from the browser when, yeah, now it's 403. That means that the API responded with API missing, key missing. Now the idea is to add this variable into the request API key with a demo key. Let's check how it is done. Retrofit add Merci. Yeah, one thing to do is, why didn't I think it before, is just to add it here. But I was thinking to add it for all the requests somewhere here. Maybe it has yeah, we see that it worked. We have the status code is 200 and we received the response with all the rovers. So we receive, right now we have to parse them and to return an array of objects from there. But the thing is that I'm concerned about is that this happens asynchronously, while the thing that I have before with reading them from JSON, from a JSON string, happens synchronously. So I'm thinking how to redesign it in order to still use the repository pattern. So everything related to it will be in the repository. Kotlin. Yeah, that's the same architecture that I'm trying to build, where we have the activity, the repository, and the view model will speak to the repository, which will fetch data from the API using Retrofit. So yeah, we have a model. So they created a result object. Yeah, that represents the result of an API call, and it has like 3 different states: success, loading, and error. Yeah, this part is a bit more technical, so I'll have to first of all read through it and see how we should implement in our project. Oh my god, it's so complicated. Trying to think what parts of this we actually need. Probably the result is something that we need because we need to somehow distinguish the result of that we receive from the API. Lego theme remote data source. Okay. Yeah, I think in order to implement this correctly, I will have to also implement the local persistent, local storage, using the using the persistency with room. so that the API, the retrofit, will query the data, will write it to local database, and after that from the local database we will read it and display it to the user. Not sure if I'll manage to implement everything that's required in order to do the local persistency and reading from the network to in this episode, because I think here is a lot of things to implement and to actually understand. Let's see. So yeah, I will not continue with fetching the data from the API, because I understand that I first of all have to persist it locally, and that's why I'll do it in the next episode. But for now, let's create a new activity that will be open whenever you press on an image, so we can view these images in a bigger size. That will be a new fragment that will just display the image with this information, but full screen. So for that, let's create a new package. Call it photo. We will create a new fragment, blank fragment, photo. Photo fragment. And let's not include the factory methods. Okay, we have a photo fragment. Let's go to the layout. This is the XML of the rover photo item that displays one item, and I think we can reuse it, or let's yeah, we'll have an image view and a text view and two text view, the same as we have here in this fragment. Let's add this new created fragment to our navigation graph, so we know that fragment photo, And we know that we can navigate from this fragment to the photo fragment. Then we should go to the photo item layout. And say whenever we press on this photo, redirect us to that fragment that will display the photo in a full screen. So for rover list, no, rover photos, photo adapter, can we attach a photo dot set? No, folder dot image set on click listener. This will be view and we say view dot find navigation controller dot navigate to rover A should be rover fragment rover photos fragment rover, but not binding. Let's check in the rover list how we implemented it. Rover list this direction. That means that one should be called rover photos direction. Rover photos direction dot why it doesn't find it? No, it's not this one. Directions. Maybe we should make it first of all, so let's check if it finds directions. Yeah, now it has rover photos directions dot all right. And in the navigation we know that this new fragment will need an argument, the photo ID, but let's just check if photos have IDs. Model, yeah, it has an ID. So in the navigation we say photo ID, and it will be an integer. What if we say custom serializable and can we send? No, we can't. Photo dot ID or 0. So was there? Oh, I think I forgot. Let's just check if redirection works, and after that we can display the image having the ID. View photos, and if we press on a photo, yeah, it is displayed here, kinda bad. We should realign it. Not sure why. First of all, we will have to in order to use the data binding for the newly created fragment, we will have to add a layout element here. And to move all this declaration in the layout. Tools. Okay, in the photo fragment. We will have a reference to the binding, and we will bind it in the onCreateView method, and fragments photo, and we will return binding dot root. Here we will need to first of all get the arguments that were passed within the navigation. That we have it in the rover photos. And we will get the photo from the repository using that ID. So photo is equal to Rovers repository dot rover photo, passing the arguments dot photo ID. We didn't implement this photo yet, but we'll do it soon, and we will have to the same as we did here with no, this is rover for the rover photo. We have it in the list adapter, photo adapter. Yeah, we will have similar there because we have to. So binding dot camera dot text, we set it to the specific text of that photo. Then the same things with the image, and we return the root. Yeah, now let's implement this method in the repository. Repository function it's get photo. Get photo. We will receive a photo ID, which is an integer. Right now, let's just return a hard-coded photo. Return rover photo model. Or just get photos. Dot get the first photo. So let's see if now the photo is being displayed in that view. Hello Zed, welcome back. Yeah, I think I needed some help from you today. Yeah, I think I understood about coroutines, that I need to use them, but I'm not well prepared this time for them, so I think it's better to wait till the next week and implement them the next week. I don't want to stay here reading. I don't think it will be very interesting. So if we press on the view photos, press on a photo, we don't see anything. I think the problem is with the layout, the fragment photo. If we look at the design, the image, oh, this is a constraint layout. That's why. Let's just replace the frame layout that we have here with a constraint layout. Now we can see it, and if we run the application, yeah, we don't need them here because we have this declaration in the layout. And yeah, we can see now the photo in full screen mode. Yeah, I think that's what I wanted to do with this one, with this new fragment. Maybe it will be nice to add back buttons here on top, so whenever we are here, we will be able to have a back button in the navigation. Let me just try to see how it is done. Is it something here? The default. Yeah, it's interesting how it is done. Yeah, it has a start destination. It has it by default, but I'm not sure why I don't see it in my application. The back button on top. That's for the activity main. Okay. So we managed to refactor to implement the application navigation. Also, we managed to have a separate screen for a photo that displays the photo in full screen mode, but we didn't manage to do the data persistent locally on phone memory, and also to properly connect with the API. We connected with the API, but we receive the data, but now we need to take this data to parse the JSON and to parse it to data objects that after that can be used in our application the same way as we are using it right now. And this is the part that I will be doing the next week or someday this week. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching and goodbye.